So this afternoon, we are going to start with HIMSS and education. And I will ask Loida Lleonart from HIMSS to join us. She's online? Okay, perfect.
Yes, thank you, Simon. Thank you very much. My name is Loida, and indeed, it's a great pleasure to be here with you today, even virtually, presenting who we are about HIMSS and more. So let me pull my presentation. I hope you are able to see it properly. So yeah, I'm here today to present on behalf of HIMSS, so it's my big pleasure. My name is Loida, and I am the responsible for the strategic relations team in the EMEA region. I always like to start with this slide showing a bit the vision and the mission that we have at HIMSS. As you see, quite ambitious. The vision is to realize the full health potential of every human everywhere. And our mission is to reform the global health ecosystem through the power of information and technology. As said, is ambitious, and therefore we understand that we cannot carry this alone. And this is why we always like to collaborate with our members, with our partners, and the entire ecosystem. So let me explain you a little bit what we do and how our ecosystem is structured. You will see here a lot of inputs, but let me explain you from the core of this rainbow on the dark blue side, the membership. We are a non-for-profit, we are a membership-driven organization with more than 60 years working in the healthcare and the digital fields. And we are sustained by our members. So this is why and what we always, work for. We structure our membership through and thanks to our communities. Our communities, regionally and topic-based communities, serve as the perfect platform to be able to address those global trends, those global themes, big topics into more regional and local actions, activities. We always want to understand the regional, the local challenges, the priorities, and be able to work with our members on that base to then be able to scale up into more, a global scene. So one of the tools how we, provide some insights, some education, some of these opportunities to connect are our conferences. We have different flagship events, but worth to mention are two of them. One is happening in 3 weeks' time in North America. That's our global conference. In the beginning of March. And then we also have our European conference, which will take place this year in Paris in June, and I'll be talking about it at the very end of my presentation. But it's not only conference that we do, it's much more on the education that we work on, not only producing in-house content, but also co-creating with our members, with our communities, with our partners, a lot of resources and different insights. So this is, one of the big components that we have is the educational part, our platform that gathers this content. Then we have in this red part of the rainbow, the analytics branch. This is, and you can see here below at the red, in the right side, how we measure the digital transformation and how we help hospitals, but also nation-wide organizations on, measuring where they are in the digital transformation field. One of the most renowned adoption models is the EMRAM that measures the electronic medical record adoption within hospitals, but we also do that in a more national level measurements as well. And just to finish on, reflecting also on media. So everything that we do needs to be amplified to be able to arrive to the entire ecosystem. So this is why at the above in the right side, you can see some of the outlets that we have. like the HIMSS TV, like Healthcare IT News, Mobi Health News. These are all outlets that help us and support amplifying the messages that we create together with the ecosystem. So let me move and explain you a bit further how we collaborate with the ecosystem. We always like to work with them, trying to put this digital transformation in action, providing insights, contributing in the advancement of the professional development. We understand that there is a big part of the workforce that needs to be educated, needs to be provided with insightful content, with accessible content, and also that way providing value not only to our members, but to our partners and their networks. So you can see here that we have over 100,000 members. And here I would like to show you HIMSS by the numbers, or at least part of the numbers that we have. So we have 125,000 members globally, and we have 49,000 members in Europe. We work with different partners from provider organizations, not-for-profit association, as well as other health services organizations. But also worth to mention is the reachable audience. So one thing is the members that we have, but the other one is the reach that we can have, specifically in EMEA with, with the website, with some of the newsletters that we do, and then with the social media channels that we have. And also important is the attendance of the events. As you can see here, more than 30,000 are joining us in the North American conference in HIMSS Global, and over 3,000 at HIMSS Europe that will be going to Paris this year. So most important than the numbers, I think it's the snapshot on the who, right? Who is our audience? Who are our members? And here I hope you are able to see, it's a bit small, but perhaps we can circulate the slides afterwards. But yeah, if we look at the professional title that we have as an audience, you can see that big portion of it is the information and management system professionals, followed by the C-suite categories from basically provider sites. Then we have some general and financial management. We have some clinical management professional titles, as well as all other C-suite. But if we look into the work site here in the table in the right side, you would be able, and I have highlighted the main spectrum of our audience are the hospitals and different healthcare organizations, consulting firms, market suppliers, so industry leaders and vendors is also a big portion of our audience, governments, all the innovation movement with entrepreneurs, startups, disruptors. Then we have academic medical centers and also academic educational institutions. Followed by pharma, and then we have other like financial payers, professional associations, NGOs, etc., etc. Now, here in 2025, currently we have identified 3 big themes, and no surprises, I guess. These are some of them, of the common big themes and hot topics for this year. And these are the topics that we would like to work with our ecosystem throughout the year, and trying to find synergies. So the first one would be the digital health transformation, specifically on interoperability, and if we put the European lens, specifically on EHDS. Artificial intelligence is also one of the big topics, as well as cybersecurity and how to protect our systems. So these are some of the main themes that we will be working on this year in 2025. Now, talking and jumping into our resource platform, into our educational platform, right? I would like to start mentioning how we divide the content. We have different content areas that I would like to mention and to try to be your attention. As you can see here, the professional development is you will see that we have the former HIMSS Learning Center, and I'll come back to this point in a few minutes. But here is where we also have all the certifications, therefore review courses, exam access, and some other readiness programs for the workforce. We have some insights. In the middle, you can see some case studies, some reports. And on the government relations side, we have monthly public policy updates available to our members. We have some generic news, but we also have position papers and other articles, as well as ad hoc webinars addressing some of the hottest policy themes. And let me continue with other content related to our events. We make available session recordings from both the global conference and our European conference for those professionals that cannot attend, that these are available afterwards. Then on the media side, we have the subscription to our media outlets, and then other content that we create with our communities, with our partners, also analytics portfolio, as well as reports from other units that we have, like the Office of Scientific Research, for instance. So this is primarily how we divide the content within our resource center. Now, we have incorporated some tools to really be able to facilitate the finding of the best resources or the right resources for our members. So everything, every piece of content, it can be filtered, can be searched by category, by topic, primary, secondary, by work site as well, and much more. So we have a big functionality to be able to display what our members are looking for, really. So let me show you in the next slide how visually the resources are displayed. So here you can see three selections, like a policy briefing on EHDS and some HIMSS recommendations, and colored in green or in pink or in blue, you can see these filters applying. So we can make those available, if we are looking into regulation, or if specifically we are looking into EHDS content sources. Everything will be displayed this way. And yeah, this is another example just to show you also some of the principles on AI, or even topics on maternal health that are big and important in our resource center as well. And I think, and let me refer back to the previous point where I mentioned about the former learning center. Why I mentioned former learning center. This is because right now we are in a transition period. So this year, 2025, will serve as to improve our educational platform and be able to gate content to really provide value to our members. This is why we are taking this approach that we call it white, snack, and meal approach. This is really to be able to provide content available for everyone. So content that is not restricted, that is global, that can be accessed for everyone, and can help us, with marketing, with advertisement, creating a buzz around this. And then we can decide if we want to have the meal, so the big piece of content, the report, the webinar, the session, whatever it is, exclusive to our members or not. So this is something that we will be discussing with the content creators, so with our members or with our communities or with our partners, how we want to tackle this approach and how we want to be this content to be displayed. So this is something that we will be agreeing jointly with our partners. And just to show you how this will practically look like, you will see that here you will have an exclusive content. So you would need to or log in as members or join the HIMSS members, and then be able to access all this pool of resources. And then, of course, here is just how the bite or the snack can look like, with some summary, with some, some bits. And then to be able to download a report or to watch a webinar or a session recording, then it would be granted for members. So as I said, this is something that we are currently deploying this year. So this will help us test how everything is functioning, but we really want to be providing all this value to the ecosystem and creating a brand new experience that can be, providing all this value to the ecosystem.
Thank you, Loida. Can you conclude in 1 minute? Because
yes, I will conclude. I was just finishing. I would like to invite you all to come to Paris next June. And worth to mention also, and it's my last slide, this is something worth to mention about the European projects and how we would be displaying and having some presence of the European projects. We will be having a pavilion where they would be providing a space for these projects to explore potential collaborations, sharing and gathering feedback from the stakeholders. And there would be a workshop on value co-creation that will feature not only the project pitches, but also a thought-provoking panel discussion with the audience. And we would very much welcome you all in there, so we can catch up later to make sure that you are you are receiving the right access to this conference. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and I'm here for any questions.
Thank you. Is there any question in the room? No. Thank you, Loida. Thank you very much for your intervention. And I think we will definitely try to be in Paris for the HIMSS event. I will now give the mic to Asta to present education as the pillar for digital transformation. Asta.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
And you can see the slides. Right. Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Super. So first of all, thanks for inviting me for this kickoff event. Actually, it's nothing better than to expand innovative alliances on digital healthcare. And I will give a short presentation on a bit of ourselves, what we are, what we do, and a particular initiative related with European Consortium of Innovative Universities, where we have a learning platform that could also serve for education of healthcare professionals and other stakeholders in general. So I am Asta Pundziene, I'm professor at Kaunas University of Technology. That is actually celebrated 100 years a couple of years ago, and we are members of XiA, European Consortium of Innovative Universities, since 2016. That actually creates very nice benefits of being part of Alliance of Innovative Higher Education Establishments. We are not that big, around 8,000 students, bachelor's, master's, PhD students. As you can understand, the University of Technology, however, we have all fields of education except healthcare, and we have strategic partners, Lithuanian Health Science University, that we closely collaborate for education, for research. So our research is very interdisciplinary in general. We have business school that has different accreditations and 1,200 students, so quite a big one. And within the business school, we have T-shapes, as we call education programs, T for broadening programs, and I for deepening programs, including our international programs with Hamburg University, with Cranfield University, University of Autonomous University of Barcelona. Apart from that, we have research groups related with digital transformation in business, and it's related with circular transformation organizations, digital healthcare innovation that is chaired by myself, digital society, digital technologies for inclusive and sustainable industry, innovation entrepreneurship, and a little bit what we do in our digital healthcare innovation research group. We actually, as I mentioned, work in interdisciplinary teams, hands-on multi-sided platforms development for remote patient monitoring and data management. Data, as it was also shown in the Loida presentation, is a topic number one, I believe, because if you do not pool data together, you cannot proceed with different digital healthcare innovations. Also, digital healthcare in ecosystem configuration, transformations, and business model innovations. So we have that mix of IT technology and business, technology impact assessment, and stakeholders like healthcare professionals, patients, and family engagement, empowerment, and the user experience. When I say empowerment, I mean also training and learning experiences in general. And now, going back to ECU, it's a consortium of 14 universities across European Union. Nearly each country has one member. From Portugal, we have University of Aveiro, but it doesn't mean that we cannot collaborate with more partners in one country. What is really amazing about ECU University, it was developed based on European Commission initiative of European universities. It was funded by Erasmus scheme to establish that kind of university based on the existing networks of collaborations. And at present, after nearly 25 years of collaborations in ECU, we have a network of SMEs, NGOs, regional and municipalities, universities, just learners like students and other stakeholders. And probably the most innovative thing, apart from different activities, because we have a research institute there and other things, is a flexible learning pathway as a learning methodology that is composed from challenge-based learning and micro-credentials. Everything is blended in the learning platform. So what is challenge-based learning? I believe you all know. I will not be very explicit, but just to give a flavor, it's really an action learning based methodology where learners are engaged in big ideas, societal challenges like climate warming, or for example, it can be burnout of healthcare professionals. And through ideation process, this big challenge is chunked into different research questions. And the second step is really investigating and going through research exercises to collect data and to develop understanding of the research questions. And finally, the third step is really to develop solutions for the challenges that we identified. Micro-credentials can be from one ECTS small course or short course to deeper courses that bring domain knowledge, transversal knowledge, and preparatory skills. And finally, everything is blended into the learning pathway consisting of self-assessment by the learner and then selecting from challenges and micro modules to compose the learning, actually personalized learning pathway in general. So this is the learning platform. We can see I just filtered out healthcare modules, and we can see that it's not too much content on healthcare currently in ECU because the strategic aim is a bit different, but I can see it as really an opportunity for developing the content here and sharing among the ECU University members. Very short, what I wanted to share some results of our research. We were assessing why healthcare providers struggle to embrace different healthcare platforms, and in particular we had investigation on national electronic healthcare platform eHealth, and it was interesting to find that if we take healthcare professionals as human agency and ask them how they discover and enact digital healthcare technology affordances to create value, we learned that training and learning is essential mediator, for these processes. So in other words, put it differently, really to help digitalization, sustainable digitalization of healthcare, we need really impactful and sustainable learning experiences for healthcare providers, patients, and families to really build value-based healthcare supported by digital technologies. So this is very short from my side.
Thank you, Asta, for Is there any question in the room?
Thank you, Asta. Quick question. Do you think we can have your help to connect to all these universities and see if they're already teaching some sort of digital health components and who's doing that, so that we sort of bring them into our XiA initiative?
Yeah, I'm sure we can at least investigate who is doing digital health. I believe we will find them at least in 20 universities for sure, because we have quite long partnership with them, but I believe more universities will be interested in this.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Asta. So now I'm going to call Jesus, Federico, and Juan to discuss about EHDS and the market need for education.
Well, first let me introduce myself because I was not here yesterday. I'm Jesus Pulgarin. I'm coming on behalf of NTT Data and Technical Manager. And I will try to bring today some insights about the market needs in education in regards to HDS. Just briefly in the agenda, what's the market for us? What are the concerns the market has? Insights in education in NDS, and the last two bullets are to describe the potential needs of education and some ideas to think about for the future. First, what's the market? If we try to highlight here the most relevant elements that we need to consider for the market. First, IT providers and software vendors, the ones that we are IT consultancy services or building products or all things around that. Of course, healthcare institutions, there's research and pharma industry, and of course, all the regulatory bodies, standardization organizations. That are more relevant. We can break it down, but okay, I wanted to do some high-level classification. Okay. And what are the concerns? This is important, okay, because here, I understand where we are. We are in a project now. We want to foster education on HDS and interoperability, but we need to understand where we are from the market or from the IT provider. Sorry. Yes. We need to understand where we are from the IT provider's perspective. Starting from the very beginning. There are concerns because their concerns are more related to for example, the technical debt. They are usually maintaining legacy systems that they need to keep maintaining because they are providing services or maintenance for this. There are also concerns about the market competition. At the end, in some cases, the IT providers are focused on the short term.
they are looking for the next tender that is coming in 3 months. So they are not concerned about what will happen in 4 years, about when it's expected the new regulation to be more impact on the market side, let's say, which is related to this. There are some uncertainty around this implementation timeline for HTS. So we are more, in general, we are more focused on, okay, what happened this year? I need to have, I have a budget that I need to be able to achieve. So this is the concern, to be honest. And also, there are a lot of investment, as you know, from the news, on AI and big data in general, not only related to HTS. From the healthcare institutions' point of view, at the end, they are basically focused on the budget constraints that they may have, the people not having enough availability even to provide care. So they have issues with the nurses, doctors, blah, blah, blah. Also, of course, they are still dealing with integration struggle, with interoperability related issues in general, not only about going forward towards HTS related activity. It's just for basic data to integrate a laboratory with the electronic health record system, for example. And also cybersecurity, but again, cybersecurity considering the basic cybersecurity. The migration to the cloud, which is a challenge for them in some cases. They were really focused on premises services, and now they are migrating to the cloud. They don't have experience in the cloud. They are facing a lot of issues there, and they are training their teams just in cloud-based matters. And these are their priorities now. For pharma research, their concerns are related to how to access HT data. They have some uncertainty there. The legal and ethical barriers and topics also related to AI. And from regulatory bodies and standardizations, we can describe harmonization of standards, and how to balance innovation with privacy, and so on. Okay. Well, just quickly to describe. Here. I won't go through all the details here because we all know the implications on education on HTS. So yes, I think we have widely discussed this these days. But here I'm describing what are the potential needs for education from the market perspective. Again, I'm trying to insist on this because what I have seen so far is that we have an important focus on, for example, we have mentioned the ECTS credits, or which are maybe more interesting from the university point of view, could be, But now we need to think how to convince the companies, the private companies, for-profit companies, to invest on this. Because even if you think, okay, but these courses, for example, will be for free. Okay, but for them, even spending time in the training for their employees is an investment, because they will have the cost, and they will have no revenue, at least in short term. And this is one of the main drivers for our companies in general. So it's very difficult, and some people may understand that this will be a benefit in the future, but not right now. And in some cases, the main driver is to have the revenue to achieve the budget that I've mentioned. So we really need to think how to, I mentioned later, how to create some kind of incentives. Not maybe financially speaking, because I think won't be feasible, but we have discussed also in the workshop, so in the working session, in the working groups, maybe doing something, for example, creating a brand for the training courses, which is something that it can be recognized by the organizations that are creating tenders. So this is important, because this is, if you do so, you will have a competitive advantage versus the companies that are not investing on that. So, as I said, potential needs, of course, interoperability and standards focus on the format, FHIR and SNOMED-CT. In data privacy and security, I think we have mentioned cybersecurity several times, but here the concern is more not cybersecurity in general, or the need is not cybersecurity in general, but how this is applicable to the healthcare in general, health data governance. So we have, the European Health Data Space introduces some changes in data ownership, consent management, and cross-border access control. Most of the companies, they work with interoperability-related matters, but usually they are more on the syntactical level. They are not now dealing with semantics, not or with organizational level. We see about the levels of the interoperability. So in most cases, they are more at a syntactical level. Okay. Of course, AI and data analytics and big data analytics. So putting this together with the HTS or the format in general, no? This is an opportunity because this is an investment already for the industry. So we are investing a lot internally also in our company, but in general. So if it would be good if we can find some specific training related to this, how to make this compatible with the investment that they already have, the companies they already have. Of course, compliance with HTS, software development. So this will be coming soon, no? The integration, how to develop compliance systems with the new format, and also how to train professionals. It's important, the topic on healthcare professionals, but here I'm including any professional also from the private companies point of view. And here we have a challenge, as I have said, but I will because I want to respect the 8 minutes. I wanted to go to some ideas to think about. Okay. First, the develop target training programs. And the way to do so, I have not added it here, but it's also related to the time that we may get from the industry to or the availability in order to run these courses. We need to do it. I mean, we have discussed already micro courses, micro credentials, micro content in general, but this is really needed because the availability that in general the people have inside the companies is really reduced. And as I have said, they are really focused on the revenue generation. And there is an uncertainty, as I have said, no, about when this will generate revenue for the companies. So we really need to find something flexible, something which is recognized by, in general, the organizations that are paying, okay, for IT service provider for IT services. So this is one thing. Another thing is the hands-on learning. Another idea here is basically to create real environments to play with, to test the format, to avoid them spending time on setting up a lot of things, setting up the environments with no knowledge about how to do it. So whatever we can do to help them to go directly to test, to try to do things, to learn, we can. It could be good. Support early adopters. I was mentioning that. Here I mentioned the incentives. How to offer, if possible, incentives for organizations that are they want to make this upscaling of the teams. That, as I have said, it does not necessarily need to do a financial incentive, but also that can be helpful, creating a brand, positioning them better in the market. No, something around that is something that the market or the IT providers, as I have said, which is mainly my focus, can be well received from them. Well, I think I have mentioned that as well, and especially the awareness. Okay, here I was mentioning the awareness generation. I think that one of the things that a lot of companies are missing is the awareness of the implications that this will have in some years. Because, as I have said, they are really focused on the budget of this year generating revenue. So in most cases, they are not concerned about the problem that they will have in some years if they are not compliant or they are not prepared, let's say. The way to do so, it's also to be discussed. But I think it's really important because I know a lot of things because I'm here. No, I'm part of was part of XpandiEdge. I'm part of this now. I mean, from our company, we are much more prepared than before. But a lot of companies know nothing about this, and this is really important, even in order to generate interest and participate in this kind of events, this kind of working groups, or whatever else is required. The idea is to bring, hopefully, to bring more companies to these working groups to help to have this input from their side. No? With this, I think we can even we need to further elaborate them. But we can be better prepared, and from the industry perspective, we can get more engagement, I would say. And that's all. Sorry. Thank you.
Any question?
No, this is not really a question. It is more to say that I really look forward to see fleshed out the needs that comes out of your considerations in terms of interoperability, learning opportunities of key advanced interoperability standards that can meet your needs. I think that will be extremely important for the lifelong learning perspectives and some of the transitions that we try to do between what I know fairly well, which is the academic field, and that Auti also knows fairly well, as we've learned. So thank you so much for coming forward with these important questions.
Nah, you're welcome. So in general, as I've said, so these are initial thoughts, but of course we'll be here working with you guys, colleagues, in order to keep fostering this education, and that's all. We are happy to do so in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now let Daniel Santos present how a scientific society can help create and educate on clinical standards. So, Daniel, if you're here.
Yes, can you hear me? Can you see me? My slides should be sharing.
Yes, we see you on the screen. The floor is yours.
Okay, perfect. So thank you very much for inviting me here. First of all, my name is Daniel Pinto, or Pinto dos Santos. The name is very long, so either Pinto or Santos alone is fine. And I was invited here after we got into talks with some of you. And I will now tell you why I think it is also important to, get scientific societies on board and educate actually the healthcare providers. I heard that in the other talks that were presented now, and as you can see, I'm a clinician, so I'm not on the technical side. I like the technical side, and I kind of think I understand, but I think we have a very relevant problem in many cases, I would say. I'm a radiologist, so I can only speak for radiology, but I, kind of am interested in all this EHDS exchange formats and all of that. But I think this is kind of a particularity with me, and many of my colleagues are not aware of those things. And the other talk was mentioning incentives to, invest in developments of specific products, and I think I can to update our radiology information system or something. We are in the position as healthcare professionals to define what those systems should be capable of, right? And if we were more informed about those things, about maybe formats that should be considered for the future, so that we are already future-proofing our institution when we are updating things now today, I think that can really help to push those developments. And there's a knowledge gap. I think on the one side, us as healthcare providers are not aware what is happening in the technical space in some instances, or maybe many instances even. On the other hand, I think, as far as I understand some of the technical developments, as a clinician, I feel, maybe there could have been a different way to better integrate our domain expertise that we have and that we could bring to those projects to really, make the formats more compatible with our real life clinical situation or whatever you want to call it. But I think there's a gap in knowledge on either side. And I think we all would, benefit a lot if we were more in contact and would do those things together. So I'm especially happy to be here and start this process. I'm here today as a representative of one particular medical society, which is EuSoMII, which is the Society for Medical Imaging Informatics, the European Society, and we are affiliated with the European Society of Radiology. We are a small sub-society, so to say. We have over 400 members, and you will see that this is a very interdisciplinary group. We have mostly radiologists, obviously, but we also include computer scientists, radiographers, industry representatives, and so on. And obviously, being a European society, we are mostly European. So that's actually why we are, of course, naturally interested in all those EU developments. And the EHDS is certainly something that we are very, very much interested in. We provide lots of educational materials already. For example, there was a booklet series that we published with our society. We provide content to the European Society of Radiology in their training materials, be it for undergraduate or postgraduate education. And I think since we, as those that provide these content, are often not aware of what is happening at the forefront, for example, in terms of the EHDS, there's kind of a lag and there's a lack of awareness. And so all these topics don't make it into that educational content, which is the primary educational content that the other healthcare professionals of our sub-society or of our profession, radiologists, is what they mainly consume. So they might not be aware of, for example, the HIMSS webinars or others of those opportunities that are out there to inform themselves. And so I think we could play a crucial role to really educate our peers, our other healthcare professionals. And so we would really like to be involved and to, act as a helping arm and distribute those informations and this content. In Europe, unfortunately, we don't have a formal educational program for imaging informatics. The US colleagues have that. That's something that we as EuSoMII are currently working towards, but it's not so easy due to various accreditation issues. But nevertheless, I mean, we would be very willing to help educate our community. And just maybe also as a kind of a teaser, there is the EuSoMII annual meeting. The last years were in Pisa in Italy. Next year, or this year actually, will be in Crete, in Heraklion, and hopefully some of you, I think we spoke with Henrique, will join us there and maybe even provide a talk, because I think really, and up until recently, we were not really informed of what's happening with the EHDS, and I think it's crucial to educate our community. And obviously, there's also the European Congress of Radiology, which is happening in 2 weeks' time, I think, in Vienna. Obviously, many of the clinical colleagues are maybe not even that interested in those technical things, but this is the opportunity where we can place those topics and try to help our community understand what is happening, so that also we can, for example, as I mentioned earlier, request from the vendors of software that we use every day to include those things and to be ready for what's coming up and what's happening there. And there's the European Institute for Biomedical Imaging Research, which is also involved in many EU projects, but maybe some of you are already connected to that. If not, that's another part of our community where we could really help and maybe be of use. And I wanted to make it quick because I was told that 8 minutes should be the goal. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for including us on kind of a short notice, because we just recently got into talks. But I think it's really, really important that we are a part, or that we at least are informed. And so I'm really grateful to the organizers to have asked me to join here. And I hope I could tell you that it's really, we as healthcare professionals sometimes have our minds busy with other things, but nevertheless, I think it's really, really important, and we would very much like to, be a part, help wherever we can, provide our domain expertise and so on. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Is there any question in the room? Yep. Thank you very much, Daniel. And
Thanks.
Stefano, it's your turn. So come to speak to us about XiA benefits for hospital and healthcare staff.
Thank you, Luc. In a nutshell, looking at XiA proposal, we have a list of benefits. I would like to dive deep in a couple of aspects that were partially managed this morning, and we will see something else now. For those who don't know us, we are Monasterio, that is a public organization and a public healthcare provider, and also research hospitals located in the northern part of the Tuscany region, in Massa and in Pisa. Happy to know that the next meeting of the Scientific Association will be in Pisa next year. And we are doing so healthcare and research. We have a long history, 27 years in development of EHR solution and IT solution to support care and research. Well, I completely agree with Jesus and NTT because that's the current situation. We have workforce shortages. We don't have doctors around. We don't have nurses. Nurses run towards the private sector because it's much more attractive. They take more money. They have different schedulings. They can manage their life a bit better. The least that we can do is to provide them with something that is efficient. So we talk about efficient digital solution. Well, in the last year, the last 20 years, but especially in the last 10 years, we witnessed on an outspread of many digital solutions to manage a lot of things. Of course, the digital solution is always fragmented, always creates some silos, and the landscape is really difficult to manage. You know this. Of course, we try to understand how interoperability can solve at least this kind of fragmentation. And the HDS, that is one of the main drivers. So when Jesus was talking about we need to invest something, that is a huge driver because the industry will be forced to adopt at least the EHR-XF within the HDS, but we expect to have many other, let me say, effects, lateral movements of the industry that can use the technology implemented in that for something else to cover what is currently not included, the low level of information management, the data transmission from the device, POCT device to the laboratory information system, to the HI, is something that we can expect to grow, to be more elaborated, more convergent toward the HDS. Right now, we know that the healthcare professionals are not up to speed, and I'm talking as an IT professional, of course. So the multidisciplinary approach is something that we are actually looking for. And we are actually looking for Bob on the right-hand side, because if I have to define a professional profile that I need to develop an interoperable solution from start to end, starting from the user interface up to the other user interface or storage elements or storage system, I need to have healthcare professional, absolutely. We work side by side with our healthcare professional. We know each other. We are relatively few people. We are 800 people, but we need the expertise in healthcare processes and scientific application of guidelines of doctor, nurse, and so on. So again, biologists, technicians, so we need to understand which profile we want to target there. And I can only specify one thing that might be related to some statement from Georgie. because if we want to have a terminology expert, I would love to have a terminology expert that knows everything. But when we approach the single domain, I have a biologist that knows something about, of course, analysis. We have cardiology, and we have cardiologists for adults and cardiologists for pediatric patients that knows different things. If I need to map some information, I need to ask to the right cardiologist that knows something. So I don't know if we can ever have a real terminology expert that knows everything that can be mapped. I mean, that is my dream. But we know that perhaps we might educate, we might train some specific terminology or some specialty, some domain that is aware of the content of some dictionary, so can help the IT solution developer to do something in that mapping and follow also the evolution of the dictionary. We know that LOINC is really dynamic, so I added or required to add few voices to LOINC just to cover some lack of mapping, but we know that LOINC is open to this. And then we need ergonomics expert, because the UI that needs to be used to fill in the gaps or fill in the mandatory information that is required in the adoption of the standard needs to be entered somehow. So the ergonomic expert is the missing link between what is really required and what is really implemented in the healthcare process. Adding a few weak spots, a few outliers, something that is not so well accepted by the operators. And they need to add this in the lightest of the way, because they need to insert things to make things smoother as much as possible. And of course, developer, we gave a look at this morning. So the analyst, the full stack developer, that is the front end, I mean, the graphical user interface, and the storage manager, let me say. Interoperability expert force and cybersecurity, just like as was reported. But also patient safety expert, because in the solution, in the interoperable solution, we need to understand which is the impact in the implementation of the data set, basically. In the risk manager, that is tightly connected with the ergonomics expert and healthcare process expert. So we are talking about a collaboration, cooperation. And last but not least, we don't have Maya here, quality expert. The quality manager is related to the patient safety expert, which manages the risks related to the implementation, but manages also the documentation in the analysis, the architecture that Diego was mentioning this morning. We need, of course, to define an architectural design of everything inserted in the EHR system. And the user manual, because we might want to educate. User manual means try to document how we can train Bob to do something. And clinical validation, because if we consider that perhaps, and this is to be evaluated for each instance of the interoperability interface implemented, might be a medical device, I need to have a clinical validation, lightweight clinical validation, also according to the level of medical device certification with IT test. Who will do the IT test? Healthcare professional. So I need to have healthcare professional aware that might be faulty that program somewhere. They don't need to be scared. They just need to connect, sorry, with software developer. And they need to warn for each anomalies the software developer. And finally, we discuss about this patient. I don't know. Patient is always there. Perhaps involve some kind of patient might be, I don't know, but patient might be really difficult to manage because we have several patients, just like we have more patients than, of course, healthcare professional with different ideas. And every time that we created a focus user group to ask something was a nightmare. So this is the same people, the same person, sorry, that can implement this. Of course, we don't have it. We can just train different people with high quality training for healthcare professional and also IT professional to connect the dots. So we need to provide the missing point, the needed concept that a physician need to know, an IT developer need to know, a quality manager need to know, in order to create some kind of ecosystem that exchange information and create globally something consistent, something reliable, resilient, and up to speed with the current digital processes. So this culture of interoperability needs to empower the physician, the healthcare professional. Now they are on the passenger seat of this car. They don't decide basically nothing. They just adapt to what is provided and decided by somebody else. We need him to contribute to the decision, if possible, or at least to suggest some solution to some problem that might come up in the implementation of the interoperable solution. So, in conclusion, XiA is an excellent opportunity to try to do something in that sense, because we can create, we can provide the students of XiA with some methodology to support this cooperative effort, and of course supporting the interoperability, but supporting also the HDS, which is the main point, and the career opportunities for the single. So in general, this is a huge also help for companies that want to develop something, and they cannot find somebody that is expert in terminology, for example, to ask, oh, terminology means that the single hospital is doing something that other hospitals don't do. So we need something that is flexible, or just like was mentioned today, some kind of tutor that is capable to monitor some processes or some evolution of IT implementation for the single hospital. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefano. Is there any question in the room? No. Okay. So this is the end of this session, and give back the hand to Simon.
Very good job. Okay. Okay, so I think we now move to our final session of our internal meeting. So our colleagues online, and we'll have two speakers for this session and me, and the moderation is from Simon after he is released from his terrible duties over the control room. He has done a good job there. So while they're setting up their SEMs, I'll give my talk, which is 1 minute and no slides. And my talk is basically about research about digital skills in education. So as part of XiA, we think, and we would like to suggest that we think a little bit more broad. So there's two things that we want to put on the table. One is, okay, we have some KPIs. I think Luc presented that very briefly. I don't know if you noticed, but one of the KPIs is 6, if I believe, or 8 published papers. And the other thing we know is that, well, maybe we've been talking a lot about preparing students. What about preparing ourselves? So there's an aspect about educating the educators, and there's also an aspect about researching the processes. Because sometimes we talk, oh, these skills, we should look at it this way, or this framework, or this other framework. And perhaps in 4 years, we get time enough to actually research about it. Research, as you may imagine, can happen in multiple ways. And one is collaboration between universities. So I'm not saying this is within the scope of XiA, but I don't think that an alliance with universities can ignore the fact that people are interested in doing joint research, and they can easily go for that type of challenge. On the other hand, sometimes easier and I would say more immediate opportunity is to capture some PhD students and master students that can be lured to, invited to, enticed to, forced to, depending on your tools, if you have the grant, to actually research both on the format and on the education about the format, which are slightly different topics, as of course you can imagine. So this is just to open that idea and let that float in your spirits. And Simon, now the session is yours and I can just rest a little bit, which is good.
Thank you, Henrique. So Henrique mentioned we talked a lot about students, and this session is all about students because we are a project on education. So what about engaging the students directly within the project and kind of attacking the problem from that angle? So here we're going to talk about that. And to start off, I will kindly invite our colleague from Iscte, Carmo Gomes, to present a pretty good example of education on digital health that we've been running here. Please, Carmo, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Simon. Yeah. So I prefer to say next slide. Okay, I can use it. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here. I just learned that we need to train Bob, and we hope that this master that we are delivering here at Iscte, Lauria, and OTH, so we are delivering this with two other institutions, European universities from Finland and Greece, that will train as many Bobs as possible in the right way. So I also wish that the XiA or the XiA, I have heard different acronyms for the project, will also be very successful on the objectives that you have as a new project. I will talk a little bit about our master. As Simon was mentioning, we are already delivering this master program that has a HOFL acronym. It has this acronym called MANAGDETH, so nobody understands what we are talking about. But when we spell it out, it makes it more sense. It's about managing digital transformation in the health sector. And this, it's all about future skills and digital health. Is a master. I'm the coordinator of a project that is, next slide please. I'm the coordinator of the project that is funded by the Digital Europe program, that in fact is a program that I think is of interest of many of you. It is run by the Health and Digital Executive Agency. It's a new agency. It was created during the pandemic, and it has a lot of funds for people that are interested on working on digital and health or digital health together. So we had the opportunity to submit a proposal. We won the proposal. Next slide, please. Our project is a 4-year project. We are really at the middle of this project, and the main aim of the project is to design and deliver 2 editions of a master program, level 7 of the European qualification framework. But this is not a novelty for the people that work in higher education to deliver a master together. There are many Erasmus Mundus programs, there are many programs that are done in collaboration. But the novelty of this master is that we have to do everything jointly. So we are 3 different higher education institutions coming from different cultural settings, Greece, Finland, and Portugal, different national regulatory frameworks, and we had to put together a curriculum that would make sense to equip and train digital and health professionals, and to make this in the framework of an European funded project with the specific rules that you know that this project have. I don't want to spend a lot of time on the project composition, so we can move to the next slide. But I want to say that besides the design of the master, our project also aims at identifying which are the key stakeholders of a digital health ecosystem, and I will let you know what we have been doing and what we have achieved on that program. And just to tell you a little bit more about this master. This master, first of all, is designed to manage the digital transformation process in the health sector. So when I go to the meetings with the other Digital Europe program funded projects, what I found there is projects to train different bobs. I will take the bobs with me, different bobs, but most of them, they just teach medical staff or health staff on technological aspects. And one of the innovative issues of our master is that since the beginning, when we made the proposal, we understood that what was needed was not to have yet another master on technologies, but to have a master that would make a combination of 3 different sets of skills. Digital skills, yes, we have a strong component of digital skills with 2 branches, even one more basic and another more advanced. And then we have a component on health skills. So we want our students to know more about health systems, health organizations, health regulations, both national and at European level, but also societal skills. So we also deal with areas that usually neither the digital experts nor the health experts are exposed to it formally. And that is also, I would say, an advantage of our master. Our master corresponds to 90 CTS, is 3 semesters. It's fully online, which is, I have to take a deep breath now, because can you imagine that we have some targets such as having 240 students in each edition, and we have had, for the first edition that is running now, 187 admitted students, and these 187 admitted students are enrolled and attending the master online. And we have teachers from the 3 institutions delivering together each curricular unit, which means that it was a huge work to make all this happening. The diploma will be jointly issued by the 3 universities. So it will be, of course, a EU diploma awarding European Qualification Framework Level 7 of the national qualification frameworks. Next slide. Where did we start? We start by doing a skills need analysis. I also heard today that you are very interested on having skills need analysis. So we started by doing that. By that time, we also had a French partner, Université Gustave Eiffel, with us. So we did this skills need analysis in the 4 countries, Portugal, Finland, France, and Greece. And we have a report published. If you have access to my presentation, you have the link there. And the report highlights what were the skills that were missing for both the digital and the health professionals that this master could fulfill. Next slide. So, having done the skills need analysis, we also found out that there were some key trends in the health sector. I'm going to save you from this because you know better than me what are the key trends in the healthcare provision and the possibilities for digital transformation. We have been here discussing about that. But we also have identified some key gaps and challenge for the transformation of the digital health, like digital accessibility and equality, sustainability of technological solutions. There are many solutions. For instance, here in Portugal, we have many solutions that have been developed over the years, but then there is a missing element of making these solutions interoperable, first of all, and for the same goal, let's say. Henrique Martins knows very well what I'm talking about. Budget constraints, of course. There are always budget constraints, in particular when we talk about the public health systems, and increasing proportion of national GDP needed for health. The centrality of the patients in this new system, in this new digital health ecosystem. If we want to give them technologies to have medical services, they are a central part of the system, and is often missing. So when the solutions of the digital experts come out, they don't hear to the patients that will use that. So it's not only the Bobs that are the health professionals, but also the Bobs that are the patients that need to be taken care and taken in consideration. The need for interoperability, that was a critical challenge that came out of our skills need analysis, and of course data security concerns, especially around patient data, GDPR rules, and so forth and so on. Next slide. So we have made, as you will see, these three circles, they will come after also in my presentation. We have made a map of the main skills needed in each of the components of the master: digital, social, and health. I'm not going into detail, I don't have time for that, but this was the basis for building. You can move forward, I will ask you to go forward, this one, to build the curricula that we have now in place. So the curricula that we have now in place has 17 curricular units plus the thesis. The 17 curricular units have a component of mandatory units and a component of optional units. And on the digital skills, as I've mentioned, we have two branches, one on interoperability and one on data science. And this also requires a certain, a different profile of students, because one is more advanced than the other. You can see that in the curriculum, we have units such as social and individual approach in health. So the social skills as a very important component, but we also have health data classifications and exchange formats in the digital skills, or deep learning and computer vision in health. So it's a very broad curriculum that came out of the skills need analysis, and that made this master quite unique. Some features of this uniqueness. They are, the students are coming both from the IT, let's call it as such, digital, and the health sector. And in one of our last focus groups with students, it was very interesting that we had some students with us, and one of them was a medical doctor, and she said, I choose to attend this one. They are mostly professionals. 90% of them are professionals working. The average age is about 40. They have most of them already a master degree or even a PhD degree, and they want to attend this course because this course is quite special. One of the specific specialties that they have said is, I don't want to attend another master only with medical doctors. I want to attend, and this is not a criticism, this was the voice of one student that was a medical doctor herself, because what she thinks that is a richness of this program is to be able to be with other specialists. This profile that it has been shown just in the presentation before me. The other is this multidisciplinary approach. So they really consider this as an added value of the master, not focusing only on the technological issues, on the technologies that they need to know about, but on the broader picture. The third thing is that they can participate from any country in the world, because the study is delivered online. It has been adjusted also in terms of pedagogics and didactics to be able to have students that are in different time zones and have synchronous and asynchronous classes and autonomous work. We also have this innovative digipedagogical learning strategy. You had Uti Ahonen talking about this trialogical model. They are a partner of our project. In fact, we have been inspired very much by Laurea model for this master. But this is also combined with the idea of having industry partners working together with university teachers to deliver the program. And then teachers are delivering the course together. This has been very difficult to achieve because we have to have one Finnish, one Portuguese, and one Greek teacher. Henrique is our co-director of the program. He is also a teacher of one of the curricular units. So he collaborates every time that he delivers his class with another Greek colleague and another Finnish colleague. They split the program, they do classes together, they do the assignments together, the evaluations, everything. And this is another way of working in the universities. Please. Oh, the 3 circles. I think this is something that I want to stress again, because this is what makes our program very different. And if I would make any advice to this new project that is starting, is that you keep an eye on this multidisciplinary aspect of training healthcare profession for the digital transformation. I think this really makes sense, and our students value very much. Next. Just a bit of marketing, because I also came here to do a bit of marketing. So we have our applications open. If you have any colleague, student that would be interested on applying, the applications are open. You have the QR code there. This is done through an administration platform that we have also built within the project to allow that different universities have a common application process and a common selection committee, and can score and select the different candidates from all over the world. And this is up and running. So applications are open until the end of this week, but possibly with an extension of 1 more week. And we need as much as possible students to complete also with our targets. Next slide. That's it only for matters of for thanking you for your attention, and I'm here for any question. Thank you.
So yeah, exactly. I guess we can open for questions.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Of course, congratulations to all NTT colleagues. I myself operate a Master of Digital Health for last nearly 10 years. We do a lot of things similar to what you guys do. Probably a few things are a little bit different. We only teach on-site and hybrid. That is the requirement. I'm sorry, I'm from Deggendorf Institute of Technology, Georgi Chaltykyan. We're one of the academia partners. And but we're also very international. We're very interdisciplinary, and we're also very innovative. That's why we call it. I call it iCube MDH. But we don't call it. We choose a very simple. It's just MDH, Master of Digital Health. Full stop. That's it. Although essentially, of course, we also produce, as I always tell my students, the champions of the digital transformation of healthcare. So I'd be super interested in learning more about your curriculum and maybe also sharing a little bit of our experience. And I'm sure we will have a brilliant opportunity to do that at the next in-person XiA meeting. Should we already maybe announce, Henrique, or you'd about the meeting in November? It's okay. Yeah. I mean, there will be more information will be provided on our side, from our side, in approximately mid-March, because I'm not sure Henrique mentioned it before. It's going to be co-located with our own, we call it a forum, a global forum for digital health education, research, networking, and innovation, DigiHealth Day. It's a series of events that we've been organizing since 2020. And the guys were our speakers as well last year. And this XiA meeting is going to be essentially a part of DigiHealth Days 2025. So since we always switch from previous year DG Health Day to next year DG Health Day series at the start of our summer semester, so in mid-March. So approximately in the beginning of March, we will be circulating the information and inviting all partners, of course, also to register for the DG Health Day, for the main event, which is also for free. And we hope everybody will then also witness our MDH and our students, who are also very international, very diverse, coming from 110 plus nations around the world, to our campus in Germany. So this is basically a comment and congratulations. Thank you.
I don't have a question. We just have like a question online that is about where we can see who the group of experts is involved in XiA are, especially per member states. Would be interesting to see the coverage and contact persons. So for this question is basically more the administrative points. I can try to show you. Yes, we can answer on the chat. That will be more easier. But like.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carmo. Thank you, Carmo. I'm actually myself a student in the program Manage DTH, so I'm guinea pigging, and I can say it's pretty interesting, especially what Carmo underscored. Anderson is not working in the slides. The fact that the students are mixed, so we have a lot of healthcare professionals, but also IT professionals and other people like me, which are over the board. But so we have group works and assignments that we do in these mixed groups, and it's really interesting to share the knowledge and to be complementary like this. Not working? Okay, thank you. Perfect. All right, so now coming back to the matter of addressing the students directly within XiA itself. We have this idea of creating a group within the project, so that can be linked to, we can tap into work package 7, for example, to create a group of students. So we can directly understand their needs and also foster research and things like this through the students. So this would include both masters. So we have already a couple of programs we can tap into. Hopefully we can tap into Manage DTH and the program at DIT. And also PhDs. So I guess PhDs I will also be guinea pigging, because I'm PhD here and I'm researching on the EHR-XF. So this is the idea of this club, is researching on digital health interoperability. This is a research club. And the main purpose, the main question we want to address with this club is how to foster research on digital health interoperability from the core students. So as I was saying, so we aim to grow a vibrant community, even though we do not aim to grow just to take the most students as possible and have 1,000 students sharing in an unstructured manner, for example. We want this to be intelligently done, and so to foster networking, mentoring, and skill development. And we should do this with goals. For example, academic goals such as thesis writing or collaboration for papers, so having outputs tangible that we can then also show the world and basically get the word around. And today I want to basically discuss with you how we can do this. So making this open discussion, we have some ideas, some suggestions, and we would like to have back and forth suggestions with you as well. So for example, we could think of mapping where to tap into. So we had this amazing example of Manage ETH. We have the example of the master program at DIT. Do you have any other ideas of places where we could go to find students to research on this matter, partner universities, etc. So I will go around. If you have any idea and suggestion, I will come to you.
Yes, hello. I'm from Taltech, and we also have a digital health program. We have had it for 15 years. It is very similar, a part of being online. And of course, you have a bit more like social aspects included. That is, yeah, we try to reach it also, but we're not there yet. I also graduated it 10 years ago. And this is also one really good resource. I think we have master students who would be interested in it. I myself, I'm a PhD student studying digital competencies. So I think we will get some people from there.
That's great. Thank you very much. We'll for sure connect on this. So 15 years old, the masters, it must have been one of the first in Europe. You were the first. Congratulations. Okay, any other input on resources, where to find something? I think Anderson, there's there.
Hi, as the ETH Alliance, we have a lot of ecosystem and we have a lot of university that are also other partners in other projects like Erasmus Plus when we work. I mean, we have also another project, an Erasmus Plus called EuVECA, when we are developing a platform for training students there. So maybe we can think about building synergies and connect with those universities. I mean, we are open, of course, to help you, support you in recruiting students for this purpose.
Okay, thank you. Amazing. It's not on.
Put you on the spot, Stefano. But one quick question. Do you get a lot of requests from PhD or master students to research with your hospital? Because one of the problems of the students is actually to get a place to do the research. And I think if this club can facilitate access to places where interoperability can be researched, that would attract the students. Because one of the biggest problems those students have is to have access to study sites. Over to you. And to NTT Data, of course, and to all others that could be study site door openers.
Specifically for interoperability, we didn't have a lot of students because it's not so attractive. We are...
but you could provide quite interesting things and data.
A lot, yeah. Of course.
Messages and things. And
yeah, but because at least with the university that we are working with, is not considered too much. I mean, it's seen as something too industrial, something that is not preliminary to do something, something that you should apply when you are an employee of an industry, just like
no, I understand.
And then stuff like that. But we had some really fruitful and with some awards as well thesis that was really useful, especially in conjunction with something new that might be AI. So this is something that is the current trend that we are seeing where it leads.
But I think one intersection between interoperability and AI is data quality. And there's very few sites where you can study data quality.
You're right. That's an important part because when you are using and producing with using AI, some interoperability components are also product you need to have data quality in place, some procedure.
Jesus? What can NTT Data offer these students? Besides the job, maybe, you know, after they graduate.
I think
it's not a bad thing to offer. Right?
No, indeed. I think well, we have students that are doing part of the latest, let's say, credits as part of our company, let's say. No, they usually are with us about 6 months usually. I think we can connect this with the creation of specific learning pathways, focus for them, for example, to spend these 6 months that they usually are with us in these kind of things more related to interoperability. So usually they come to us to make generic training as a student. They spend 6 months by developing in general or things like that. But I think this could be useful. In fact, we have, as part of our interoperability team, we usually have students. But it is true that we don't have a specific pathway. So I think this could be also something we can apply in our group. So, yeah.
Carmo, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do we get more students besides Simon and the other 3 that emailed me already? Can you grab us a few more for the club?
Can I? Or would you like to start? Okay. So, well, today I'm representing HL7 Poland, but I'm also a researcher at Warsaw School of Economics. We don't have any specific program for students like the one that you have just presented, but if your students are interested in making some kind of case studies or research in Polish hospitals, we are very open to do that. I'm working also for Polish Hospital Federation and for EIT Health, so we have broad contacts with Polish hospitals, and perhaps some Polish students could also be interested in the program that we've been just discussing. I think it might be interesting for them as well.
That's great. Polish student would be great. I think in the program, I have to say I saw many Finnish and many Portuguese, so it would be good to broaden.
Absolutely. It's time, or it's time to go, or it's time to go. No, you prompt me with this participation of the students from the Managi on the club. We don't have PhD students, but we hope that we will have.
You have one. You have one here.
You are both. You are both. But the idea that we are not at the level of awarding a PhD. But what we were thinking about is that we also would like to create a kind of alumni network. And besides this group of students coming together, and some of them, they are already PhD holders, I think it's very important that we also use this opportunity, for instance, of the summer school, where we also have our partners from the industry, our partners from the health sector. So to work with them in order to fulfill this gap that you are mentioning, that will be, for instance, for the Managi, will be a very serious question, because we have 170 students in this cohort that will have to do a research project somewhere. And we don't know exactly where they will do, and if all the, for instance, in the healthcare institutions that they are working, if they are willing to open data files and other systems for them to work on research. So that's, I think it's a very critical aspect. And I really encourage, I'm very happy that Henrique invited me to be here, but he is also our director of the program. So to make the synergies that could be possible for attracting these students to the club, to alumni networks, and so forth and so on.
Anyone else wants to help Simon build up the club? Any more ideas? So I think you gathered already a lot of, so you get Polish hospitals, Polish students.
Good. It's pretty good.
And Polish students can apply to Managit. So they actually, by the way, Carmo didn't mention, but Managit, because it's EU funded, there's no fee for the students, which is a very important aspect. But I see, Brian, over to you. Tell me, you're offering resident possibilities in the US. Now you're going to steal all our European brains.
No, I feel that at least for the next few years, the opposite's going to happen.
Okay, that's good news.
We're going to see brain.
I mean, we need to balance off the thing,
right,
after the Second World War, so it's okay.
The tide may be turning in Europe's favor. Yeah, I was going to. I mean, one of the challenges with having that many students looking for internships at the same time is we get asked by a lot of master students in the IU system. They have over 100 students, and they all are like, can we come to Regensreef and do a project? And we can only take a handful per year. So I think having multiple options is good. One of the things that we have within the American Medical Informatics Association is a student working group. I don't know if you have something equivalent at FME, but if you don't, then perhaps something to think about would be working with FME to create such a thing. It allows our PhD students and postdocs and other trainees to network with one another throughout the year. They meet up at the AMIA conference, but they also are online with one another, and they have kind of self-created journal club opportunities for themselves, and it has spurred multi-institutional partnerships to support student needs. So that might be a partnership to think about as something that would be sustained beyond just the XiA project, but would meet, sounds like the direction that you're moving towards. Yeah.
Ryan, towards that, and remembering that you're organizing the AMIA meeting in November, we are hoping that you take a bunch of ideas and maybe get some session there for these things, but we'll talk about that offline. Okay, so that's one thing. Any more contributions to Simon's Club? No? Okay, so it's not just Simon's Club, okay, but I'm just personalizing it because it's always good to have a face at the beginning of something.
I think probably everybody knows that FME does have indeed a young scientist and students group. I think it's pretty active. I'm just, as far as I know, as far as I understand, I'm the only one. I mean, the FME leadership have left already.
Yeah, no,
Anne and Catherine.
Anne was listening to Catherine's presentation outside on the other side.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's why.
I
But
have to
it's
say
good.
that yes, FME would definitely be a good, and they're also associated with the so.
Thank you. Actually, last year in the FME meeting, we ran a panel, me and Catherine and two more people, on researching about the format. So it was the first time we talked about this, and there was a discussion of creating a working group for the European Health Data Space. I don't know how that is moving forward. So in this case, it would be an intersection between these two that could make sense. But we will give you more because we got 2 panels accepted for FME from XiA consortium. So we will be in Glasgow representing the project, and so I think we will come back from Glasgow, which is this year's location for FME meeting with a bunch of new things. And we need to have, for example, these opportunities of connecting with XiA very clarified. Okay, you're a partner, you're a university that can use our material, you are a university that can, you know, help put up students for the club and so on. Okay, so I think I have to contribute to this session with a final idea, which is,
Yes.
as you were discussing, I find that one of the functions for the club can be a sort of a research marketplace, right? Where hospitals, and we have a bunch of hospitals in other projects and other places where you can research about interoperability, can put their opportunities. So there are an opportunity for research, and Stefano, sorry again to put you on the spot, but the 90 hospitals on fire are all locations where research about interoperability can be done. So if these hospitals are invited to put themselves on the marketplace, then you suddenly have, Carmo, are you not paying attention, but I know you are listening to me, you suddenly have 90 hospitals in Europe that could absorb 90 master students, one each. Not like in Regents Institute where they all come to Brian. But so that's one thing. And then on the other side of the marketplace, you put all the students that are looking for opportunities and they couldn't find, because some of them I know from Portugal, I know their institution is not going to be really helpful for different reasons, because they want them as a doctor, not as a something else. That's the first reason. They don't want to incentivize that someone doing healthcare even considers the possibility of dropping to see patients for the reason that, Stefano, you mentioned. We have such a shortage of staff that we find that even some clinical institutions block people. Well, they can't block them from going online, but they will block them from taking one day off to go to an on-site training. This is why these online opportunities, paradoxically, are sort of an opportunity to bypass policies, which is quite sad what I'm saying, but this is the reality, and it's not just in Portugal, I'm pretty sure. But in Portugal, it is the reality. So they almost clandestinely participate in this on Saturday and Sunday at the end of the afternoon, which is a little bit, I mean, if you reflect about all we've talked into 2 days, it's a bit sad. Simon, I don't know if you want to wrap up on the club, and then I'll wrap up on the 2 days, and then we go home. Yeah. Everyone's really tired.
Okay, I cannot change the slide, but that's okay. I wanted to reflect on mechanics, on how to govern a club like this. But I guess I will take from all the inputs that I got from you guys.
Show us your ideas.
It doesn't change. We lost our IT specialist.
He's obviously not as reliable as you, and much better than me. So don't worry about that.
Oh.
Wow. Oh, okay. Names?
No, names idea. Yeah, because you also need to have a catchy name to catch attention, first of all.
Okay.
ManaGTH is a good example.
No, if they take out the rest and they call it just ManaG, it actually sticks. It's easy to remember, ManaG. You don't need to say the rest, just say it ManaG. You put all the name, but you just always say only ManaG. And it's easy.
Okay.
Oh, that reminds me of generations that are in conflict with their parents. Okay, we'll think about this. You can put it to vote on a sort of an online voting platform.
Yeah. I will probably come back to consortium partners for a bunch of requests and ideas. But about mechanics, so for example, the FMI working group is meeting regularly also at conferences, etc., which obviously, because FMI being the sponsor that facilitates, but we could think of things like this. So first of all, a regular forum, monthly, for example, or something like this. I know there are task forces, for example, for subjects such as public health, things like this, doing such regular meetings to work together online. And then we could also search for a conference or any other physical place to meet annually or something like that, I don't know. Use XiA meetings, first of all, so follow the projects, but that could also become a club that continues beyond the project, because the HTS is here to stay, I guess. And then plan the collaboration. So how I see it is having a work plan similar to a project plan, with these outputs similar to deliverables. That can be conferences or workshops, panels, thesis, if any of the students have any such submission to make, paper submissions, and other formal collaboration that can come up. But yeah, I will brainstorm on this, come back to you guys and try to launch this as soon as possible. And I think that's it, I can wrap up. Thank you very much. I have the last contribution, yes.
Very, very sorry for just a second. I just got a very bold idea. Why don't we create or establish something like a cross-program, cross-university research colloquial, this kind of journal club for students of all our MDH study programs? Why not? Why not do something like that? What do you think, Master?
I think it's possible, easy. Possible.
Probably not easy, would require a little bit of, but should be possible.
It's easy to do the first. The difficult and the challenge is to continue. Now, so if we create a mini model where one goes for January, the other one goes for March, the other one goes for May, and you have a substitute, a B plan if one fails, then you get the motion going, yes.
We don't have to do it monthly, perhaps?
No, I
These
said 2
joint,
months. 2 months.
2 monthly, yeah,
Yeah,
bi-monthly,
that's what I'm
probably.
saying. January, March, May, something like that. I think it can be done. I think there's different things. Well, moving to the wrap-up of the day.